I was so impatient. I was so cocky, ego, and I can do it all. A total hit the wall, man. And some people will never surrender saying, you know what, shame on me. But I'm so grateful that at least I woke up, man. So start so small. Anybody who does not get into real estate as an investor is foolish. It has created substantial wealth for Sophie and I. That business we sold, $233 million. Got to pay taxes on it. You net out 180 million. Where did I get the other 120 million? Real estate. 180 and 120 is 300. It wasn't all from that one business. So what you do is you start stacking and racking as you're earning your money. Just go slow. You're going to get there. Real estate is not going nowhere. It's been around forever and it will continue going around. COVID proved it. Technology is not going to replace a roof.
All right, it is that time again. Hey, today we have Bobby Castro, none other than the rock star himself. I don't even know where to begin. This episode is straight fire. There are so many nuggets in here. You're going to want to listen to this again and again and again. In the process of listening to this, we are reaching closer and closer to the new noteworthy list to impact and show ourselves to more and more and more people. And we need your help with that. If you appreciated anything in this podcast, if you had any takeaways, please pay it back by just subscribing, leaving a written review, 5 stars. If it's anything less than that, take it somewhere else. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoy this episode. We did not want to wait until next week, so we got 3 episode drops this week. And don't forget to share it with 1 friend, 10 friends, maybe even 100 friends. You can even share it with your old high school teacher. If they're going to see benefit from this, that is the purpose why we created this, to avoid all of the fluff, the mindless motivation, and the success zombies with no action behind it. We want to give you actionable and tangible steps that you can apply into your own business and personal life and start seeing results today. Thank you. We love you and enjoy this episode.
Perfect. So we are back in the building with another episode of the Dedication to Excellence podcast. I am your host, Eugene Tamampos, alongside my co-host, the master of operations, Dustin Reyna. Normally, I'd ask you how you're doing, brother, but we are a little pressed on time today, and we got a big hitter on the call, so I'm going to ask you how you're doing later. But for those of you listening for the first time, the purpose of this podcast is not just inspire and motivate, but to give you real actionable steps and operational strategies from high achievers who have actually done the things we'll be discussing with them. Because once you're excited, folks, guess what? You actually got to go out there and do some shit. So today's guest, where do I begin? He is a self-made entrepreneur with a phenomenal background. Bobby Castro founded Banks Healthcare Group in 2001. He sold a company for over $1 billion. He's been named Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst & Young, and his company has been included on the Inc. 500 list 13 times. He's been recognized by Fortune, Forbes, Entrepreneur, basically every major publication out there. He's been a 10X speaker. He owns a $400 million real estate portfolio. And all of this is my favorite part, has been powered by his 9th grade education. Bobby Castro, welcome to the Dedication to Excellence podcast, brother. We're excited to have you.
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Dustin. And, as I look at you awesome individuals, you and Dustin, I see the in your eyes, you're so hungry for life, and reminds me a lot about myself. And that's why I said yes to this podcast, because you approached it the correct way, good people skills. And I'm always willing, able, and very hungry to help individuals like you to share my story, some of the simple reminders in life that so many other Bobbies, so many other Eugenes and Dustins, they too can do it, man. It's not really hard. I know that sounds crazy. We'll get a little bit into it, but thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, brother. So as I had mentioned, you have an awesome story. I can't wait to dive into as much of it as possible and really pull some of the tactics out of it. So we know the highlights, Bobby. We've covered some of those, but we're excited to hear what happened behind all of it and what it took to get there. So let's just start at the beginning, brother. Where did it all begin?
Very similar story to maybe both of you and most of your viewers, because we all have a struggle that we were part of or maybe part of. And the struggle I'm talking about is growing up. My mom, she's 80 years old today. All her life, she was a waitress, 3 full-time jobs taking care of her boys. My father, he had me when he was 50. My dad's Puerto Rican, my mother's Jewish and Irish. My mom was 27. My dad was very passive. definitely not the type A personality as my mom. And it was my mom who always pushed me. I was a real introvert, believe it or not. I still am, which is kind of crazy. I'm just an extrovert when it talks about business and talk about creation of wealth. But I didn't speak until I was roughly 7 years old, very shy, extremely shy. We grew up with a great mother, man, very little resources, government house in Section 8. She just provided for us the best as she can, walked to, her job, Sambo's. Today it's called Denny's, where you and your buddies go out and your family, maybe after a wedding, and get some quick grub. Well, my mother worked at Denny's before it was called Sambo's. She worked on the graveyard shift where, you're at a club and you're going there at 5 a.m. That beautiful, awesome individual waiting on you was my mom. Then she got off that shift at 7 o'clock in the morning, walked home, didn't drive home. And then in the afternoon, hit another shift at another restaurant being a waitress, did that drill. And then the third gig came into play, came home, walked home, and actually went to the Roni Pub Steakhouse in Miami Beach to be a waitress. It's a steakhouse. She did that for many, many, many years, and I seen it. And, there was a lot of financial struggle, like we always have experienced or heard of in our family. Electric out, water constantly. We lived on rent a center. That means that you don't own the furniture, you rent it on a weekly payment, a little dining table, bed where me and my brother Eric slept. She paid $5 a week. I used to pick it up when she bounced a check. And it was hard for me back then. I didn't enjoy it because my dad had 11, 12 kids before he had the three of us.
Wow.
So my dad, he beautiful person, awesome father. He loved the ladies, and I think the ladies loved him. And he was just a beautiful soul, but didn't mind the struggle. And my mom, it always bothered my mother. And she used to tell me, Bobby, man, you could be anything you want to be in this life. So at the 9th grade, I said, Mom, I can't do school no more. I just can't comprehend it. I don't think the teachers like me. I was looking for all the excuses, but I really didn't like school because I felt like I was wasting my time. And I have even a hard time today to comprehend things. Sometimes I have to ask 3-4 times to get it, believe it or not. So I left at the 9th grade, then started my journey in life. My mom got me my very first job, which is still my ha-ha moment, at Pasquale's. It was a restaurant on Red Road in Hialeah, Miami. I was a takeout. She was a bartender there and a waitress. She got me the job. I'll never forget, back in the day, it was Kmart. I don't know if they're still around. My mom took me to Kmart. We got my Payless shoes, my slack, my shirt, my buckle, and it was the best thing. And I grew up in the hospitality world, seeing my mother service her clients, giving them the best experience, because it wasn't like today where most of the places you go on, they already have that 18-20% gratuity already jotted in there for you. All you have to do is press a button and sign. Back then, they didn't have that. My mom had to work her butt off, giving good hospitality service, hoping and praying for that 18-20% tip, because that's how she would go ahead and get paid. So I seen that, and it's called people skills. Later in life, when many different businesses failed drastically because I always was trying to press the situation instead of creating the situation. I was always trying to fast track it, being desperate for success and missing it all along. And I kept failing miserably, just total disasters where most will give up, but I didn't give up because I had really nothing to lose, because it was so depressing for me to go back home. It was a real negative environment for me. I was never physically abused, never abused, period. But it was always a drama. There was chaos going on in the house. Can you imagine? A lot of movement going on. I just didn't want to be there, to be honest with you. And I enjoyed working. And every time I used to come home, I would get negative. So this is where the PMA, positive mental attitude, came into play, where I just had to have an outlook being positive that this situation is a temporary situation. I don't know exactly what I was thinking, but that was the vibe. And I started a few businesses young. My mom mortgaged her house when I was very young. It was everything to her. And we took out $25,000.
What were some of those first businesses, and what kind of caught you the bug of entrepreneurship?
A janitorial service. So I opened it when I was very young. My mom borrowed $25,000 from her townhome. I found a mortgage broker. Back then it was called a second mortgage. I found him on the flyer in Miami. I'll never forget his name, Woody. And I haven't forgotten his name because of his name. He actually entertained this young kid that was calling. I took the Big Blue, which is the public transportation, 25 cents. I sat down, told him I wanted. He did the stats of my mom's house. He says, I can get you 25,000. Went back to my mom. My mom, just like when I told her I wanted to leave school, she didn't give me any heartburn. Do it, Bobby. When I wanted to mortgage her house, do it, Bobby. She believed in me. She saw something in me that I actually didn't even see. And even today, at times, I don't even see it. And it was a janitorial cleaning service. I went to every restaurant, every hotel, anybody. Hey, man, I want to clean this. Gave them bids. And then there were some insurance requirements. There were some obstacles that I didn't want to get, or I just wanted a fast solution. Struck out. I finally hit a home plate at the Pink Pussycat on 36th Street in Miami, next to Miami High Light. I walked in, man. It was probably the last sales call I was going to make, trying to get an account. I walked in. They said yes to me. It was an adult entertainment center. And
how did you get in as a kid? Were you old enough to walk in?
I just walked in. I mean, it was like during the day, so maybe a few stragglers around. It wasn't a night situation. I just, was making a sales call, and they must have got a kick out of this young kid asking for the business. They gave me the business. That led me to a few more similar establishments. For some reason, I fell into this niche, and I realized they didn't really care about the rules or didn't ask many questions. Not even how old am I? I did that until an adult dancer, Eugene, said, man, how old is this kid? One day, 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, one night I was cleaning. And that was the end of that.
Oh, wow.
I quit. I lived with that $250 payment for many years, mortgaging my mother's house. And it bothered me a lot. And that was my very first business, amongst other side businesses in the community. And looking back, guys, I challenge every young entrepreneur, man. I know all of you are so hungry. You see all this flash on the internet, all this money being made, all these incredible stories. That's all fine and dandy, man. But that's just a distraction, because I used to get caught up in the classified ads, getting packages of business opportunities, quick fixes, all this stuff. Give me $1 million tomorrow. Massive mistakes I made. I've learned from those mistakes, and I started appreciating the fact that you have to create something. So what I did, guys, I started limiting my crowd, and I became a loner. And if you really want to create wealth, you're going to be alone most of the time, because a lot of your association, family members and friends, are not on that same wavelength. They're not ready to pivot to this massive change that is very slow, very boring. And right now it's so hard in 2020, coming to 2021, no one wants to go at that pace, but it's just a moment in time. So what I did, and I created, man, think about this. Learning the process, I created a $300 million personal net worth, no investors, $400 million portfolio, $400 million worth of apartments, no investors, raised no money. No one taught me it, Eugene, Dustin. I taught myself, just having the curiosity. And if I was able to do that, you guys, you awesome people, have this internet, this thing called Google.com. It's all right in front of you, but everyone is so distracted with the flash, and they don't want to do the hard work, this boring information deep dive, because unless you know how money works, unless you respect money, you're never going to truly make money. You'll be successful being broke, being successful getting rich, but man, wealth, you never ever have to worry. Rich, you got to go to a job. You got to go to your job every day. That is a difference of the effort. And I'm all over the place, I know a little bit, but the effort is the same, getting rich or getting wealthy. I chose, when I learned, when I was getting rich and I was stuck, like saying, okay, I'm making X, but I can't seem to make more. I can't seem to have enough money to invest because I'm spending all the friggin' stuff and this stupid lifestyle. I got to start doing something. I made that decision. And I don't think most are willing to surrender, to sacrifice, saying, I am the problem, man. I am this drug user that can't get off of this drug unless I clean up myself, I correct my mindset, I disconnect from all this crap and get my crap right. I'm never going to make it based on what my experience is, Eugene. I can't really talk about anybody else, but it starts with you and ends with you. I see so many people that have $1 million today. Bobby, oh, here's $1 million, invest. And I'm shocked. Like, number one, why would you give me $1 million? Just because I'm on the internet saying I got all this? Aren't you interested in knowing about the investment? So before you give somebody your almighty dollar, you know what you're doing? Are you that desperate like the old Bobby was? Because you're going to lose your $1 million.
So you had your first failed ventures, but it sounds like eventually you caught some traction. You got rich before you got wealthy. Can you walk us through that season in life where you then started getting some positive momentum? You started having some successful businesses, but it sounds like maybe then there was a transitional point where you said, hey, I'm making money, but it's not the kind of money I want to make. It's transactional money that I'm having to still put in effort for. Can you walk us through that season of life?
Yeah, I went through some stages in life, Eugene, where it was all about the car I was driving. It was about the watch I was wearing. It was about the place I was having dinner at. And I was full of myself. I was in La La Land, and I was working for a lifestyle versus working for my future. And I got caught up into that. I wasn't, at one moment in my life, I wasn't the best husband either. I've been married now 30 years to an incredible individual. We've been together 31 years. I have two magnificent children, 29 years old, Priscilla, 24, Brandon. I have two amazing grandchildren. I have so much to be blessed and grateful for. And knowing all my screw ups, what I was doing, heading to the disaster, being somebody I was not, trying to be somebody versus being me. I was making some money. And then I realized I wasn't really making the money. I was borrowing on credit cards. I was living a lifestyle to impress others, to attract others. For some reason, I went through that phase, like all of us go to the phase. Then I went to a phase where I started correcting it. And then I started being mindful about my money, started making money. I had no idea how to invest my money. I started making the money.
Which business was this that was making you the money at the time?
The business I sold for $1 billion.
Got it.
I had that business for 18 years, started the business from nothing. And I started waking up really quick of actually stack and rack. The shirt I'm wearing is all about stack and rack. Stack is a savings, which is almost a bad word. People make fun of it. Racking isn't investing because you can't invest if you don't have the money. So I started stacking my money versus spending my money, Eugene, stacking it, going back where I made the money, which was my business, taking care of my customers, paying attention to my business, expanding my business, reinvesting in my business, started making money. Then I started realizing, wow, I'm making a lot of money, but now what am I doing with the money? Then I started racking into investments, but before I racked into investment, I lost millions of dollars. I went into real estate. Check this quick story out. The company was sold a few years ago, $26 billion institution. I want to buy 30% of the company for $250 million valuation, and I want to give it all cash. Wow. Why would someone want to do that? Well, it closed, and then you start doing your research, taking your deep dive, saying, why would someone overpay? They didn't overpay. They stole it. We were the idiots that didn't even know what we had. So then we realized what's a multiple, how multiples work. We said, okay, good for them. Now we're going to get ours. 11 months later, went back to them because they had a first right refusal. Hey, we want to sell 19%, but still keep 51. But you have first right refusal. Yeah, we'll buy it for sure. Well, it's $600 million though, and no stock, all cash. Oh, you're crazy. No, I know. It's not the first time I was called crazy. Well, long story short, they closed. Year and a half later, same situation for $1 billion. So that's stacking and racking, because if I didn't figure it out earlier, I would have never been motivated to turn 250 million into six to a billion. Now you tell me, is that a better high, a better fix versus driving some cars and getting all distracted and thinking that you're making money and you're not making money and and long story short, I got distracted. That amazing business I just described to you, there was a moment we were doing so well, I started going back to the old Bobby, because we would fall victim. The old Bobby started surfacing. Then I got distracted. I said, I want to get into real estate. Everyone's getting into real estate. This was back in 04, 05. I want some of that stuff. God. I took deep dives, bought $80 million worth of apartments. I was going to convert them in condos. Sheesh. All my fault. Talk about doing something you don't know what you're doing. And that's why I tell people, start small. Don't start big. Lost millions of dollars. No problem. Go back to where I should have been paying attention to that incredible business I just described to you. Went back to the business that got me out of the hole. Started paying attention to the business, which I should have never lost focus of that friggin' business. That all of us do that. Everybody wants to get to real estate. I want to get into private equity. I have $1 million. Well, where'd you get the million? No, my business. Wake up and pay attention to that business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get another $1 million.
Yeah.
So I got distracted and I started learning about real estate, because I love learning from big mistakes, guys, because those are the biggest profitable efforts, only if you don't repeat them. The small mistakes, it's constantly going to be there. But the big mistakes, the ones that just literally just almost murder
kill you. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, shame on you if you don't learn from those. And I'm thankful that I have learned. I'm a good learner on those big mistakes. And because of that, led me and my wife to create throughout the years a $400 million cash flowing real estate apartment portfolio that we have for a legacy for our grandchildren, paying us hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, going through COVID, all leveraged correctly, no issues, because we know how to borrow money, what not to do, because we respect money. We understand how it works, and we're not that old Bobby and old Sophie getting caught up driving the fancy dancy cars. Yeah, we have them now because we can afford to have them. Do I enjoy them? Not really. I have them, because I have my kids. They hang out with me. They're 24, 29, and that's what you do with your kids. But watch your money, man.
Yeah, you had to take that L before you started learning. It looks like
massive L.
Yep. Yeah. Looks like that business was that mental shift. There's levels to the game, and you've reached a level that's not many reach, and that was that mental shift that took you to that next level.
If I didn't fail at that real estate, Dustin, where I was doing so good financially, and I just wanted to pivot to something else because I thought I can do it. That sometimes our confidence, our ego is not your amigo. It'll just crush you all the time. You can never win it. If I didn't do it, though, I would have never learned from it. So making big mistakes is not a bad thing. Don't do it intentionally.
Right.
Sometimes you can't control it. Don't just think, oh, okay, I'm just going to drive through the wall, and if I live, I'm going to learn something.
Right.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Learn from big mistakes, but preferably learn from the big mistakes of others. That's the next level.
And from learning all that, dude, it made my marriage the best marriage that you can write in history. Made me a better father, made me a better human being. It made me appreciate each and one of those employees. I had about 500 employees before I exited, because without them, man, I wouldn't be sitting here, because I just didn't do it by myself, man. The scale, you need others. You need to make others successful. And I'm very big on being a better version of myself today versus yesterday. And if you don't challenge yourself and you don't get really corny and deep, because people think I'm a little wacko, I can never stop improving, because once you stop improving, man, you have an ego. If you know it all and you have it all, and there's so much more I can do in life. I mean, I get value every day because I'm hooked on results.
That's beautiful.
Be the dumbest person in the room, you walk in every room. I'd like to go into your personal life and with your wife, Sophie, you know, you've been together for 30 years, been through all kinds of different ventures and business failures and successes. And it all starts at home. You know, really, you can do a lot of things in business, but if you're not waking up with the right environment, it directly affects that. So how has, you know, going through that, and how has having that queen at home with you and in business with you helped you along the way?
Man, Dustin, awesome question. So I call that family alignment. So you two entrepreneurs, when you're an entrepreneur, you're in business, you're an investor, whatever your thing is, you're going through struggles, frustrations, celebrations, and success. All those categories, whether you like it or not, you bring them home.
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa. Frustrations, struggles, argument, a tough time, celebration, success, you bring it to workplace. They're both connected. And what worked for Sophie and I, eventually, when we got our stuff aligned together, saying there's no separation here. Oh, don't come home and speak about business. No, we speak about business every day, just like our personal life. And we became so aligned that we became partners. I'm not this macho dude that it's me, I. My wife just goes to the mall and all. No way. We are life partners. We're creating our legacy that we want to leave 100 years from now, not like our family didn't do. We want to do different. My wife is Cuban. She comes from a Latino, hardworking family. We want to do something different in our time for legacy. So the alignment has to be there. You have to bring these two forces together, because you can't leave your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the situation, out of it, because you're not aligned. It's just going to bring more friction, more confusion, more delay to success. Bring it in, be cohesive. Me and they tell me and Sophie, how do you guys you're together every second of the day? You have all your private equity investments, you have all your venture capital together, you have all your real estate, you have everything and anything. I see her literally 23 and a half hours a day. How do you do it? We are so aligned that it's like magic, man. You fertilize that crap. You don't ignore it. You don't fight it. Fertilize it. You chose this individual in your life, man. It's called life, not just 8 hours a day. And let me tell you, she's a Mac daddy. She's a true entrepreneur, man. She supports me. I support her. And I just think my wife's the foxiest chick out there, man. There's nothing better than having a partner in life that supports you. You support her. You both know exactly to the T what you want. We want to get to 1 billion from 300 million. Yes, I want more. Sophie wants more. It's for our legacy. My grandbabies, awesome. Man. What's going to happen to them in 30 years from now? Technology substituted all of us, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want them to have the friggin' ticket off the island.
I love that. So I'm sure your guys' has it always been that well-oiled and fine-tuned, or did you guys have to overcome some stuff in the beginning?
We get life coaches. We're big on self-improvement. So when we sold that business, Sophie and I, when it was going down, about 4 months prior, we hired a very high-end life coach that was highly recommended, that worked with the Amway family, Bowles family. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. To prepare ourselves, because we loved our business so much, we were going 100 miles per hour every day. And when you go 100 and going down to 10 miles per hour, and you're looking for retirement, we were very open to, and we understood we may hit a wall. So we spent a lot of time on self-improvement. We just came back from a mindful retreat. We went a journey with a monk for a month. We spent 10 days just recently, just self-reflecting at a resort, being appreciative of what we have, going over our goals again, making sure we're in the lane. Man, it is better than sex. Sex is great, but this is just a cherry on top, man. When you have a relationship like that with your partner, and it can happen to anybody, because I seen my mom and dad, they were cats and dogs, man. My mom lived on the couch my entire life when I left that house. My dad was upstairs. I seen that whole drama. I was in the middle of the pool of it. So no one can convince me different. I just know what worked for me, what I seen, what I chose to do, and how I continue to be better and get better as a husband, as a business owner, as whatever it is in life, man. I know that's it. Young people don't want to hear this crap because, oh, man, I won't break bottles.
Yeah. This is beautiful, man. So how do you manage your day-to-day? What does the day-to-day look like for you with everything you have going on?
Roughly 5:15, 5:20 a.m. Don't need an alarm clock. I believe that you can get 3 days out of one day if you really manage your non-refundable minutes. You got to really, it's the hardest thing to cut out some people out of your life, not because they're bad. You just have so much capacity that you have in 24 hours. You got to respect every meeting. You got to make sure if I take this podcast, I want to give value. I don't want to sit here like just some mushroom. I want to get value because I want to get value back. So I get about 5:15, 5:20 in the morning. I work on myself for about an hour and a half. I'm a big time reader. I love to read. I used to never read good, but I love to read about how to improve, only because every time I go there, I get rewarded. Life is rewarding me so much, dude. You have no clue. Forget about the financial economics, man. Global success. It seems like, Bobby, do you ever slow down? No. Why? I want more of it. Are you kidding me? Put more on that needle.
Dude, you're just amped up. I love it.
It's like this all the time.
I'm trying to look like you when I'm a grandpa, man. What's your skincare routine?
We believe in health. Sophie and I wake up in the morning. We watch what we eat. We have our personal, because we understand how life is so precious that we want to have more of that runway, man. So we can touch other lives. So we can share, like I'm sharing with you guys. So you can share with me. And it's all about relationships, man. And if I didn't have the people skills to put myself out there at a young age and go into these boring networks that they were so boring that it smelled old, because I had no money, I had nowhere else to go. But I went to networks to learn and be around something other than the other stuff I was already around that had the same information I had. So you have to put yourself out there. And this stuff here, man, this little device, this is the most intimate device, more than your wife, girlfriend, husband, whatever the deal is. This is the biggest distraction. This is what I see the problem. This is a drug. Unless you control it or it's going to control you. This is a brilliant device, but I see so many people in Instagram. Oh my God, look at that Ferrari. Oh, look at that chick. Look at that dude.
I think it's that you scroll the height of the Eiffel Tower every day. Most people, it's insane to think of that. Wow.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. So I've heard you say daily deposits, treat your relationships like a bank account. Don't just continue to make withdrawals, make deposits. And I want to explore on how you make sure to implement that in every relationship that you have, and how that's benefited you in the long run with business and personal relationships.
Yeah, I'm pretty picky, Dustin, on relationships, because again, it goes back to the capacity, because I want to have really bona fide relationships where I can give value, but more so that I receive value. And if you don't receive tremendous value back from a relationship, business or personal, you shouldn't be associated with the situation. So every time I'm developing relationships, I'm really being very careful to say, hey, can I afford to bring this new relationship in my ecosystem? Do I have enough time to nurture those relationships? Because of the power of words, hey, I'll get back to you. Oh, yeah, I'll call you on Thursday. We all do it. You got to be so mindful that you can't afford to bring another person in this ecosystem because you haven't really worked all these relationships. And I get hit up every day, unfortunately. And I tell people before I got off of social media, because dude, me and my wife and my family made a fortune last 5-6 months in COVID. And it saddens me that other people didn't recognize it because they were so distracted with so much going on. Versus, I can't even tell you, but on to what you asked for, relationships are everything. And I just don't bring somebody in my life because a lot of people, I'm talking to them and then they're hitting me up within 30 seconds. Hey, I got an investment for you. They're forgetting about the importance of a relationship. You wait for the invite. So when I had a relationship, they eventually said, Bob, you know what? I want to do business with you, man. That's an invite. Or somebody like I say, well, hey, Dustin, man, what do you do, man? I want to get involved with some of your stuff. You seem like a cool dude. That's what you need to wait as an invite. You don't press it, you don't force it. So I'm very cautious on relationships because maybe they're good people, but their motives are maybe a little different than mine. I'm only looking to get value exchange, man. No one's going to make me rich other than me. I don't need to go out there and raise money. I'll go wait on tables again. I have 3 jobs. I'll get a 4th job.
If we can maybe shift the conversation back to the financials, because you've mastered the money game, at least from my perspective. What are some just fundamentals of finance that you can bestow upon our listeners that are just starting to get their money right? So some some simple truths, if you will, of how to start getting your money in a good situation.
Bad debt is lifestyle debt. Stay away from those credit cards. Lifestyle debt will just kill you, man. Kill you. There's correct debt to leverage you towards wealth with the right leverage. And when you start understanding, again, money, respecting money, understanding truly, do you really know how to compound $1 to $10? You then should have the confidence to start borrowing, leveraging debt to create these opportunities and returns in investments. But if you can't get your personal friggin' life together and you are a train wreck, work on that before you visit this other bucket. Because if you if you pivot to that other bucket, still being that train wreck, the old Bobby, it's suicide. It's suicide. Spend time getting your own, oh, Bobby, I'm credit card. I've heard it all. I'm credit card debt. I'm this and that. And I've worked with some people online out of my heart. They send me the personal financial statement, and then we really get in the nuts and bolts. You're really not financially free, man. So why not even open up and say that if you're picking someone's brain like myself, say the truth, man. Mm-hmm. You're overextended. I know the drill. I was there. I was on that crack too, man. I know the drill. It's okay. But the only way I can help you is tell me what your situation is. And I see 9 out of 10 people don't have their personal finances in order. They simply don't. So I'm not crazy about home ownership. I think a home is not a financial investment. The return on the investment is where you raise your kids. You have your intimate time with your family. That is a big return. Mm. But don't call that a financial investment. It's not. Because you can buy a home for $100,000. My mom bought the home for $100,000 and it's worth $500 now, 25 years later. Okay. There's something for 25 years called insurance, taxes, right, upkeep, all that. So I keep telling everybody, man, you've got to have an intimate moment with money, man. A lot of people think they know how money works. They really don't. They don't. Because if you have a credit card balance, of course, you should always have a credit card balance. You go to dinner, whatever, your credit card. But if you're extended on credit card debt, don't even think about business, man. Your business is yourself right now. Get yourself right. Mm-hmm. Find out what is your friggin' problem. You got to start at that stage. Do not look at going where Bobby is right now. I used to do that, man. I was a hamster on a wheel and didn't go nowhere.
Here's a quick question for you. When someone has that challenge of not having their personal finances straight, in your experience, is that typically a earning problem or a spending problem?
It's a comparing problem. We have the disease. We're comparing each other to everybody. And it's a status situation. I personally think, Eugene, I really do. And I think we all fall victim to that, man. I used to be one of those repeat offenders, man. And I think it's worse now than when I was younger because of this technology. I just think that people can't help themselves. And that's why I keep begging people, man, you please cut out some people from your life for a moment. You'll get them back on the rebound. But unless you're ready to spend time with yourself, because when we're taking that shower, we're all alone taking a shower, we know the truth, man. We don't lie to ourselves. We can lie to everyone and play the whole role. But at the end of the day, when you're in that warm shower and you're waking up in that morning, you start realizing all your problems and all your weaknesses and what you're doing, and you just can't get off it. You keep feeding this misery. So I think, man, I know it's not what most people want to hear, Eugene. For me, I had to get myself right, man. I was a disaster. I would have went into any business and failed. If you want to have chances to be wealthy, please get yourself right, man. And before you pivot and say, okay, I'm right, make sure it's not 30 days later. Make sure it's not 3 months later. You don't get yourself right that quick.
Right. You actually got to really put in the work. Hey, Bobby, I know we're coming up on time here and I want to be respectful of your time, but that's flown by. I mean, this has to just be the appetizer for when we get you back for an entree at some point. But we do have a few questions we like to wrap up with. So hopefully we can just knock those out and then schedule again some time to maybe do this again when your schedule allows. But Dustin, I know you said you had a few quick hitters, and then we can leave it with our signature question.
Yeah. So the first one, I do want to leave with some actionable intel. You know, the guy that's amassed $400 million in multifamily homes, and somebody that is looking to enter maybe that scene, looking to get their first breakthrough in that, what would be something that you would recommend? Maybe somebody that doesn't have an extreme amount of wealth, but they're looking to get interested on an entry level. What would be your recommendation for like multifamily?
Well, there's a book. I don't know the dude, but he's a good dude because it's a book that I gave my entire family. Mm-hmm. The ABCs of Real Estate Investing by Ken McElroy. He and I have communicated just briefly. I think it was on LinkedIn. Just shared some love with him, let him know that, man, he's doing some great stuff. going back to reading, Dustin, we all have the itch, and then a curiosity happens. Before you buy a program, before I get hit up a lot, Bobby, can I invest with you? Can you show me? Can you mentor me? Do all this stuff. Don't do any of that, guys. Make sure in real estate, you know the basic fundamentals. Grab this book. He's a great author, The ABCs of Real Estate Investing, so you can understand it. I would leave it right there, Dustin, because any more information, because these are the old Bobby, you give me anything, I'm going to run to it. Oh, I'm going to get the book. Give me another book. And we start prematurely going to another stage. So start small. Don't start big. I don't care how much money you have, because remember, I lost $80 million. I explained to you, and I had the money, but I was so impatient. I was so cocky, ego, and I can do it all. A total hit the wall, man. And some people will never surrender, saying, you know what, shame on me. But I'm so grateful that at least I woke up, man. So start so small. Anybody who does not get into real estate as an investor is foolish. It has created substantial wealth for Sophie and I. That business we sold, she and I, $233 million. Got to pay taxes on it. You net out 180 million. Where did I get the other 120 million? Real estate. 180 and 120 is 300. It wasn't all from that one business. So what you do is you start stacking and racking as you're earning your money. Just go slow. You're going to get there. Real estate is not going nowhere. It's been around forever, and it will continue going around. COVID proved it. Technology is not going to replace a roof.
Oh, I like that. Well, we want to be really respectful of your time. I know we're going over a little bit, so I'll leave it off to Eugene to finish off with our signature final question.
Absolutely. Let's get it. So, Bobby, again, thank you so much for being here. Sincere gratitude for you taking the time, brother. But we are the Dedication to Excellence podcast, so we do like to end every episode by asking, Bobby, after all you've done in life, the success you've had and that you will continue to have, in your own words, what does it mean to live a life dedicated to success, dedicated to excellence? I forgot the name of our own show. What does it mean to live a life dedicated to excellence?
Helping others, man. We're big in that. My wife and I, my entire family. There's nothing better. When you say excellence, man, that's global success, and we're beyond the financial rewards now. We understand the power of impact, fulfillment, purpose, and being excellent. Even right now, if you're broke and you're that Bobby and that Sophie, man, you can still be kind to people. You can still smile to people. You can give them a hug. You don't have to be rude. Helping others, and I'm really big on it. I do believe sharing is caring, and that's excellence to me, man. You got to be an excellent human being if you're going to be a true leader, and people are going to follow you, man. You got to walk the walk.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Well, we'll go ahead and leave it right there, Bobby. Again, thank you so much for your time. Where can people follow you and find you and learn more?
My son, he's the one who got me on social media. It's official Bobby Castro on Instagram. There's a website, bobbycastro.com. I'm doing this for how long? I don't know. I know I'm pouring out my heart because I truly care, because I'll never be able to substitute my income doing this for a living, that's for sure. But on Instagram, Facebook, go on Google and Bobby Castro, and something will pop up,
And then you're going to be, we'll probably release this before the Real Estate Avengers event. So,
that's right. Yeah. The Avengers event. Actually, that's a great event, man, for a lot of your viewers. It's the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Incredible, successful individuals in real estate. I'll be one of the speakers, explain what I bought during COVID. Why did I buy it? What did I plan to do in 2021? How do I see the market and all that? And it's for $49, man. And I said yes to it. I'm a big fan of Dan Fleischman. He's just a good individual with integrity.
Yeah.
That is going to be a great virtual event. I highly recommend it, man. It's so darn cheap. It's cheaper than a cheap takeout, man. And if you're not willing to spend $49 to learn about real estate, then you're not going to learn it.
I think it's better to spend 49 than losing 80 million. So,
yep.
Love it.
Definitely be there. Well, hey, Bobby, for the 100th time, man, thank you so much for being here. On behalf of Dustin and myself and the Dedication to Excellence podcast, we appreciate everyone who's been listening in. Please continue to subscribe, review. We are on a tear right now and on pace to make this new and noteworthy list, which will open up our audience to many, many more viewers. So appreciate the love we've all been getting. Stay tuned for the next episode. We will catch you on the next one. Be blessed. Peace.